God doesn't need anything from us. He is a giver. He gives like the sun. The sun doesn't need light from a candle. God is a subjective experience that is beyond the intellect. It's pure experience. God is pure experience. It's just like electricity. You cannot see electricity, but you can feel it.
She had that feeling of compassion and love towards the entire creation. Amma says it was already there by birth itself.
The village that Amma was born in is called Parayakadava, and they're all fishermen. As a child, Amma was called Sudamani, which means a nectar-like jewel. Amma's family was very poor. Her father used to work as a fisherman. All the people that live there are Hindus, and they're of the fisherman caste. That's how they make their living.
When she was born, she didn't cry. When I looked at her, she was motionless. I was scared because the baby before her had died. But then the woman who helped me with the birth said, "Oh, she is smiling."
Amma started walking by the time she was 6 months old, and soon after that, she began speaking eloquently. She never talked baby talk.
Amma would see books and chant Krishna's name. It was spontaneous. It started at a very young age. She behaved differently from other kids.
When Sudamani was a young girl, she had her own principles. So she did not obey her parents, and this became a big problem for them.
And sometimes they thought that they have a very strange daughter. Maybe sometimes they thought that she's disobedient. Sometimes they thought that she's crazy. So they had all these misconceptions. When you cannot grasp something, understand something, you stamp it as strange.
In the morning when Sudamani's mother would wake the household, Sudamani would not be there. She would stay up all night singing hymns and meditating or dancing in ecstasy. Early in the morning, she would fall asleep on the beach or maybe under a tree. Her mother would search everywhere for her and would get very angry because Sudamani was being disobedient. You know, it's unthinkable in Indian society to disobey one's parents.
Sudamani! Oh, Sudamani! എത്ര നേരായി ഇതുവരെ എണീറ്റില്ലേ സുധാമണി നിന്നെ എണീപ്പിക്കാൻ നോക്കട്ടെ
I feel sad I punished her, but back then I didn't understand. That's why I punished her.
I have talked to some of Amma's teachers, and they say she was a remarkable child. She could memorize anything, just one time was enough.
Amma was a very loving student. She was very unusual, very different from the other students. When Amma was studying here, she would have fits and fall down unconscious. The reality of that we did not know. We did not know why she had those fits, but now we know she was experiencing bliss.
When Sudamani was 9 years old, her mother Damayanti became very sick. Sudamani decided that she would stop going to school so that she could do all the household chores.
Most of her time, even though she had to attend to the household chores, all the work was done chanting the Lord's name, crying, dancing. She simply chanted the Lord's name when she played with other children. So everything was a worship. Her entire life was a worship. was a prayer.
When Sudamani would be immersed in deep meditation, she would lose all sense of day and night. And she wouldn't eat or sleep. The animals who saw her felt compassion and used to bring her food. And Amma realized that these animals understood her feelings more than even human beings did. And Amma imagined that these animals were being sent to her by God to help her with her spiritual practices. Amma could clearly see that this was the infinite love of God that she was seeing in these animals. And her caring for these animals became another form of meditation on the divine.
Since she loved all beings equally, we felt she was different and crazy. She loved other people the same way as her relatives. She loved trees, pet animals, and even cruel animals the same way as she loved her own brothers and sisters.
One morning, when I was picking flowers, a huge poisonous snake jumped at me. Amma came and told the snake that I was her grandma. She told me that he would not harm me. Then she put her tongue into the snake's mouth, touching his tongue.
ഇതിനെന്ത് വില? പകുതി മതി. ഒരെണ്ണം.
She would be very hardworking. It was Amma who nearly brought us up. She would look after all of us. You know, she would bring us up right from the morning to the night. Everything. She would dress us up. She would send us to school. She would look after our well-being.
She would carry pictures of gods, Mahatmas, and talk to them. We thought she was mentally unbalanced. She would burst out crying, "Krishna, Krishna," and fall to the ground, unconscious. I worried about how it would all end up.
ദമയന്തി സുധാമണിയെ കണ്ടോ? അവൾ എവിടെ പോയിരിക്കുന്ന? മോനെ പോകുന്നുണ്ടോ? മോനെ സുധാമണിയെ കണ്ടോ? അവൾ എവിടെ പോയി? സുധാമണി എവിടെ പോയി? കണ്ടില്ല.
She would hold a picture and always chant Krishna's name. I was sad at Sudamani's behavior.
എന്ത് പറ്റി എന്ത് പറ്റി എന്റെ മോക്ക് എന്ത് പറ്റി നിനക്ക് എന്ത് പറ്റി എന്ത് പറ്റി എന്ത് പറ്റി നിനക്ക് എന്ത് പറ്റി എന്ത് പറ്റി എന്ത് പറ്റി എന്ത് പറ്റി
She would lie and roll on the ground. When she woke up, she didn't remember it. I was so troubled with the state of Amma.
Sometimes Amma took food and jewelry from the house to give it to the poor. One day, she took an earring of her mother's and gave it to a sick person so that they could buy medicine. Her parents, when they knew about this, they became very angry and severely beat her.
സത്യം പറ ആർക്കൊടുത്തു വള ആർക്കൊടുത്തു നോക്കട്ടെ വള ആർക്കൊടുത്തു വള
Sudamani knew all these sufferings would bring her closer to God. She knew that her suffering was her real teacher.
You know, Amma's parents, they were totally ignorant about spirituality. They think that God is sitting somewhere up above the sky, or God is only in a temple. They had no idea about God as omnipotent. So as Amma said, that infinite capacity is within us to become God. So that aspect of spirituality was completely unknown to them. So they couldn't even imagine, they couldn't even dream that their child, their daughter, was in a most exalted spiritual mood.
I was strict. I didn't know who she was. She was different from other kids, so I used to beat her and punish her.
In the early morning, Damayanti would go to the river bank and clean and purify herself to begin the day. But Sudamani, she was nowhere in sight.
Sudamani! Oh, Sudamani! Sudamani, evide? Etra nerayi kutti kondu? Ayyo, Deivame! Ee kutti ivide dhyanikkiru. Sudamani! Raavile kundi ide joli. Vere oru kaariyil etra joli undu bakki. Hey, Sudamani! Sudamani! Oh, Sudamani! Hey, Bhagwan! Amme! Adi, evaru paadi joli undu. Inne etra joli undu ee kutti. Enikku thodu madi dhyanilla. Adi, va! Va kaanikunu va. Va, nare. Enna idu? Etra joli undu ee kutti kondu njan thodu. Nare.
Damayanti's views on bringing up girls were very strict. Amma would say, "I'm not yours. The whole world is my parents." Damayanti got mad when she heard this. She punished Amma.
When you are blissful, you can smile, you can dance, you can roll in the mud. That's all you can do. That is how one can express the bliss within. There is no other way. The parents could see mother dancing, and then sometimes they thought, how can our daughter dance like this when she has not learned how to dance? They were transformed for some time, and they thought that there is something very special about their child. The whole world, the entire universe is a wonder for mother because it's God's beauty. So the entire world is God's creation, and we should fall in love with that. Everything was a worship. Her entire life was a worship, was a prayer.
In those days, it was the custom to observe a caste system. My parents used to give food, oil, and clothing to a low caste man, but they always left the gifts at a distance from the house for him to pick up. But Amma didn't observe this rule. She would go sit and eat with the old man and call him father. She treated him lovingly.
This was directly disobeying our parents and disregarding the customs of our village.
So when the heart is filled with love, it expresses itself as compassion through your look, touch, action. The feeling of the other or the otherness should go. Then there is only you. Then compassion and love automatically happens.
Her giving to the poor or caring for the sick and feeding the hungry, all these virtues sprang spontaneously from her inherent nature.
I would ask her not to meditate. I told her that it was not necessary. People go to the temples to worship. Just pray like an ordinary girl. We don't need this behavior.
ഇവിടെ വീണ്ടും തുടങ്ങി ആട്ടവും പാട്ടവും. കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളും ഇപ്പോഴും ഉണരും. എന്താ ചെയ്യൂ?
പഠിത്തം നിർത്തിയിട്ടും ഒരു പ്രയോജനമില്ലെന്നാ തോന്നുന്നു.
രാത്രിയല്ലു സ്വൈരമില്ല.
Without having the support of her family and without the support of the local people and even without the support of anybody except God, Amma would hold on to her principles.
Amma would say, I'm born to help the people who need me. I'm not just your daughter. I'm here for the people.
എന്താ ഈ വീട്ടിലെ പ്രശ്നങ്ങള്?
എന്താ പ്രശ്നം? അതേ പ്രശ്നം. ഈ കുട്ടിയെ കൊണ്ട് ഈ വീട് നശിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നു.
നീ സമാധാനപ്പെട, ഞാൻ അതിനെ മാർഗം കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്.
എന്താ മാർഗം?
അവിടെ വിവാഹം കഴിപ്പിച്ചു.
2 പ്രാവശ്യം വന്നിട്ട് പോയി. ഈ കുട്ടിക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും അനുസരണം ഉണ്ടോ?
എന്താ പറഞ്ഞേ? നിന്റെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ തീരുമാനിക്കാൻ അച്ഛനും അമ്മയും ഉണ്ട്. അച്ഛനും അമ്മയും തീരുമാനിക്കും, ഞാൻ തീരുമാനിക്കും.
ഇത്രയും കാലം ഉപദ്രവിച്ചിട്ട് മതിയായില്ലേ?
2 പ്രാവശ്യം ആള് വന്നിട്ട് പോയി. ഇനി നീ ഓരോന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് ഒഴിയാൻ ഞാൻ സമ്മതിക്കുകയില്ല.
എന്നെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇത്രയും കാലം ഉപദ്രവിച്ചിട്ട് മതിയായില്ലേ?
എന്ത് പറഞ്ഞു? അച്ഛനും അമ്മയും പറയുന്നത് നീ അനുസരിച്ചാ മതി. വേറെ ഒന്നും ചെയ്യണ്ട. ഇത് ചെയ്താ മതി.
ഈ കുട്ടിയെ കണ്ടോ? എന്താ പ്രയോജനം?
എന്താ ഇവിടെ ഇനി നടക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്? ഈശ്വര, എന്നെ എനിക്ക് അറിഞ്ഞുകൂടാ.
I think you know about this Indian society and how, you know, each parent have their dreams about their daughters. They thought that someday or other their daughter should be given in marriage.
The incident that occurred was the 3rd proposal for marriage. It was so painful. I had decided I'll get her forcefully married to this boy.
For arranged marriages, the would-be bride should bring tea or something for the bridegroom and those who would come along with him. So at that point, when Amma was asked to bring tea for the bridegroom, she just took the stick.
എന്റെ മോളെ എത്ര നല്ലായിട്ട് വസ്ത്രകെല്ലാം അടിക്കാനല്ലേ? എന്താ നല്ല കുട്ടിയല്ലേ? എന്താ മോളെ എന്നോട്?
തുറക്കാർക്കെല്ലാം വളരെ സന്തോഷമാണ്. എനിക്ക് എന്റെ മകൾക്ക്
നല്ല വസ്ത്രം, ഈ കീറിയത് വസ്ത്രങ്ങളെല്ലാം എനിക്കിത് മതി. വേണ്ട, ഇത് പുതിയത് ഇട്ടോളൂ, പോയിട്ട് കുളിച്ചു.
അല്ല, ഇത് എന്തിനാ അമ്മേ? പറയൂ. അമ്മേ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞല്ലേ നിങ്ങളോട് എനിക്ക് വിവാഹം വേണ്ടാന്ന്. എനിക്ക് വിവാഹം വേണ്ടാന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ.
ഈ വസ്ത്രം ധരിച്ച് നല്ല കുട്ടിയല്ലേ.
വിവാഹം വേണ്ടാന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ.
നല്ല സ്ഥലത്ത് എത്തിയ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വളരെ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട് വാസ്തവത്തിൽ. വേറെ പ്രശ്നമൊന്നുമില്ല.
വിവാഹം വേണ്ടാന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ.
കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല, കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല, വേറെ പ്രശ്നമൊന്നുമില്ല.
മോളിപ്പോ വരാ. മോളിപ്പോ
I could see her running after the suitor saying she would kill him. It was very painful for me. That's when I decided I wouldn't seek any more proposals.
Sudamani's sublime moods and her inner identification with Krishna continued, and soon this inner oneness with Lord Krishna manifested itself to the villagers.
It was 1975, during one of the religious gatherings near our home. I was not present at this time, but I heard the experiences of many devotees. There were a lot of people there who didn't have faith. They wanted Amma to show a miracle to prove her authenticity.
People demanded that if she is Krishna, if she is the Lord, then she should give a sign. So mother says, that is not my purpose. See, I don't want to show a miracle for the sake of miracles. It helps to a certain extent. Of course, around a master, miracle always happens. But mother tells them the real gem is within you. And this kind of miracles will only help to increase your desire. So mother says, that is not my purpose.
There was a skeptic. He didn't believe Amma that time, but does now. He was the one who took the jar of water.
Krishna, ഈ കൃഷ്ണന്റെ സിദ്ധിയാണെങ്കിൽ നമുക്കൊന്ന് കാണട്ടെ. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് വിശ്വസിക്കാം.
സിദ്ധിയൊരുക്കി കാണിച്ചാൽ നിങ്ങൾ വീണ്ടും
ഒരു പ്രാവശ്യം കാണിക്കാതെ പറ്റില്ല. എല്ലാരും പറയും ഇപ്പൊ സിദ്ധി കാണിക്കണം, അല്ലാതെ പറ്റില്ല. വെള്ളം വെള്ളം കൊണ്ട് എന്ത് സിദ്ധിയാണെന്നറിയാലോ. സിദ്ധി ഒന്ന് കാണട്ടെ.
I was there when she turned water into pudding. That was a miracle.
Govinda Hare Gopala Hare He Prabhu Dina Dayala Hare Govinda Hare Gopala Hare
the incident of the miracle, many people started coming to the house. Some people, however, started spreading bad news about the family. And as a result, the family became totally isolated from the society. They couldn't find any solution and even talked about committing suicide. Sudhamani happened to overhear this.
കുട്ടികൾ ആരും വീട്ടിലേക്ക് പോകുന്നില്ല, ബന്ധുക്കളെ ആരും വീട്ടിലേക്ക് വരാനായി. സുഭാഗൻ പറയുന്നു, ഞാൻ വീട്ടിലിറങ്ങി പോകുന്നു. എനിക്ക് വയ്യ ഇങ്ങനെ വിട്ട് കഴിയാൻ.
സുധാമണിയെ പറ്റി നമ്മൾ തന്നെ ഇപ്പോഴല്ലേ മനസ്സിലാക്കും. ആൾക്കാരെന്ത് വേണേ പറയട്ടെ. ഞാനൊരു വഴി കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. നമുക്കെല്ലാവർക്കും കൂടെ വിഷം കഴിച്ച് മരിക്കാം.
Sudhamani overheard her parents talking about killing themselves. She only wanted to spread love, but she felt that she was the cause of the family's suffering. So she wanted to leave her body. Thinking of the sea as her divine mother, Sudhamani decided to merge with it. But after her parents pulled her out of the ocean, a great change came over them. They told her that they would support her spiritual activities and they would do anything if only she would stay in her body and remain with the family.
I would say that was one of the greatest miracles Amma has performed. The transformation which happened, especially in mother's father, her brothers and sisters. The parents consider mother as their everything, their master and their God. I have seen it with my own eyes, how they had grown out of their ignorance, recognizing mother, bowing down to mother, accepting Amma as their everything, as their all in all. But it was a slow evolution.
Narayana Hari Narayana Hari Narayana Hari Narayana Narayana Hari Narayana.
My brother Subhagan was a strict disciplinarian. Amma was different in her behavior. The villagers used to bother my brother by talking bad about this.
Sudamani's brother, Subhagan, he had ordered his sister many times to stop her spiritual activities, but she never listened to him. One day, he and his friends decided to kill her.
Hey, Sudamani! ഇവിടെ വാടി നീ നിന്റെ ആട്ടവും പാട്ടും നിർത്തിയില്ലെങ്കിൽ നിന്റെ ഈ ശരീരം കായലിൽ കൂടി ഒഴുകും
ശരീരത്തെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നശിപ്പിക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചേക്കാം പക്ഷെ ആത്മാവിനെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ കഴിയും ഞാൻ ശരീരമല്ല എന്ന് എന്നേ മനസ്സിലാക്കി
നിന്റെ വേദാന്തം എനിക്ക് കേൾക്കണ്ട നീ ഞാൻ പറയുന്ന അനുസരിക്കാൻ തയ്യാറാണോ
ശരീരത്തിൽ നിന്ന് എന്നെ മോചിപ്പിക്കാൻ വന്ന നിങ്ങളെ ഞാൻ ഈശ്വര രൂപം അയച്ചേ കാണുന്നേ ഉള്ളൂ
ഇവൾ മരിക്കണം ഇവൾ ഈ കുടുംബത്തിന്റെ ശാപമാണ് ഇവൾ ഇനിയും ജീവിച്ചിരുന്നാൽ അത് ഈ വീടിന്റെ അപകടമാണ്
Her attacker, however, had a sudden seizure and fell to the ground. Seeing this, it caused immense fear for her brother. Sudamani knew that her attacker was going to die, and so she visited him in the hospital. She brought him food and consoled him. She also assured him that she had no anger towards him, and she showed her compassion and love by feeding him with her own hands.
So, that is the beauty of a true master's actions. They see everything as God, even in the most cruel person. That is why Amma bows down to everyone. She comes to the hall, she bows down. She gets up, she bows down. Somebody brings a picture, Amma bows to that picture. Whether it is significant or insignificant, Amma bows down to everything. That means there is a hidden Amma within each and every human being, each and everything. So even in that person who wanted to kill mother, there was light, God's light, just about to dawn.
Seeing this, her attacker repented, and tears streamed down his face, reflecting her love.
When I saw her, when I came face to face with Amma, I have nothing to say. I had nothing to say. My mind became so calm and quiet. My heart was filled with love, nothing but love. And I could behold, I could experience, I could touch universal love, universal compassion. Actually, I had a very intense desire to experience true love throughout my life. All my interactions with my friends and with others in the society, I thought I could find love, but I never experienced love. There was always selfishness. There was always a selfish motive behind the love which I experienced in the world outside. When I looked at mother's face, I just burst into tears, just cried and cried and cried, as if emptying out all the old stuff. And then she just, held me, hugged me, put me on her shoulder and whispered into my ear, "Child, you are mine. You are my child and I am your mother." So I started crying uncontrollably. And then she pressed her index finger between my eyebrows. And that was it. It was, I was completely spaced out. I never ever experienced that bliss before. That peace of mind. There was no mind. It was like beyond mind and body. I sat 3 hours, and those 3 hours were like that. Just a second. So That was my first encounter with Mother, which completely transformed my life. When I got back home, I thought, no, my life is for Mother. My life's goal is to know God. In those days, there were only a few people around Amma, and this ashram actually consisted of a very small bit of land, surrounded by backwaters. The ashram residents, I would say, there were only 10 or 12 people. And at that point, some outside devotees who used to visit the ashram wanted to form a trust. So Mother was totally against it in the beginning, because she said forming a trust is like institutionalizing the whole process. And Mother said, I don't want to do that. I want people to come freely, because this is not an institution. This is a Gurukula. Gurukula means the Guru's family, the Master's family, where there is, free interaction, there is love, there is compassion, there is concern. But once it becomes an institution, it becomes like an office. So Mother said, only if you promise that you wouldn't convert this place into an office-like thing, will I agree for this. And finally all these people, they really promised, touching Mother's feet.
I realized that whatever I thought would make me happy, I still found that I was not happy. And I really want to have some peace in my life, and I have to know God. And it was just such a deep cry from the bottom of my heart. I felt I have to find a master, somebody to teach me to how to find God. So it was a very, very deep, unforgettable experience. When I saw Amma's photo, and I was astonished to see that it was actually, it looked like a young girl of 16, but that very one glimpse of her, it just struck me in the heart, and I felt that she was going to be my master, because she looked so young and innocent that there was such a power in her eyes. I truly felt that she was the Divine Mother, you could say, the goddess incarnate into the form of this little young girl.
I didn't really know who she was. I had brought a bag of peanuts to give to her as a gift. So when she came up to me, she put her hands out like this. She wanted to actually grasp my hands. But here I am, a monk for 12 years. I never touched ladies. And I wasn't about to touch a young Indian girl like that. So I took the bag of peanuts and I put it in her hands. Then she just laughed. And she put it aside, and again she put out her hands. So then I just put my hands in her hands, thinking she's a saint.
I was living with one foot in the world and one foot in spiritual life. And I knew that I wanted to lead a spiritual life, but I really didn't know how. And when I met her, my prayer was, oh, Mother, please let me love others like you do. Because I was so struck the way she just could pour unconditional love into everybody that came to her. I'd never seen anything like that. It was like being swept away in a river of Mother's divine love.
Oh. I was feeling very nervous and quite afraid. And it was very natural. It was like, it wasn't as if we were meeting for the first time. It was as if we had kind of known each other. There was such a heart connection with Amma. I didn't feel like she was a stranger or somebody I had to come to know. I just felt so one with her, close with her.
Love is a basic need of life. In reality, love is that which sustains life. Just as the body needs food to grow, the soul needs love to grow. That is the need of modern society, because that alone will help human beings to grow internally.
Most sages in this country, they won't allow people to touch them. But Amma, she doesn't see people as people, but she sees them as temples of God. It's Amma's way of awakening people to spiritual life, to religion, to faith in God. Because, as I said, it's not just a hug. She awakens them to their own feeling in their heart.
Why is this women hugging everybody and hugging all these men even? Mother says people don't get any consolation if she just smiles at them or anything, so she puts them on her shoulder for a moment to let them, to feel like she's really caring for them personally. Mother will just stroke somebody's chest and they will just burst into tears. It's like that one mere touch of Amma releases so much pain and emotions they may have been holding on since their childhood. It's because Mother's touch is just supercharged with divinity, that people, unknowingly, they just respond so much to her. They open up.
Amma's ways are really unique. The world has never seen a master like Amma, who is spending so much time to listen to the problems and to give solutions to them. This manifestation of compassion and care is expressed by Amma's darshan. 15 hours, 16 hours, sometimes 17 hours they spend on some days with the devotees, talking to them, listening to their problems, giving them darshan. That is the most unique approach of Amma.
And so that's why she shows that kind of universal love towards everybody. She sees everybody as her own child. She doesn't differentiate between a rich person, a poor person, a man, a woman, a child.
Sometimes people ask Mother, how can you do it, Amma? You go on 7 days a week for 2 hours on end. You'll see thousands of people in one day. Don't you get tired? And Mother looked at them with a big flashing smile and she said no. She said, where there's love, there's no effort.
തൻ്റെ കുട്ടിയെ തോളത്തിടുന്ന അമ്മയ്ക്ക് വേദനിക്കുന്നില്ല, അതുപോലെ അപ്രമം വരുമ്പോഴൊന്നും ഭാരമായിട്ട് അവർക്ക് തോന്നത്തില്ല.
When a mother carries a child in her arms, or when the child rests on the mother's shoulder, it's not at all a burden for the mother. Once you have the feeling of universal motherhood, once your mind becomes as expansive as the universe, then you can carry the burden of the entire world. You won't feel the heaviness.
Every human being relates and responds dramatically to love. The thing with Mother is, her love is genuine, it's divine love. And that love doesn't have any expectation.
If you look at this ashram, you can see there's always the thrill of life. Life is always pulsating everywhere. A mother wouldn't allow, this place to become like an office. We are part of the society, but at the same time, Mother, wants this place to be, like a forest, I would say, like a forest. A forest is full of life. Life pulsating everywhere. The beauty of the forest, the smell of the forest, the life.
The difficulty is not to express love. The difficulty is to remove ego, to grow out of the ego. That is the difficult part of it. In fact, love is the nature of human beings. It's there. But we're limited by the individual self. We have to grow out of that individuality to become the universal person. It's ego which is in the way of this love. If we can remove ego, we can become like a river.
Here in this ashram, there's no escape from anything. You are forced to face whatever comes up in you. That's the difference between being in an ashram in a controlled atmosphere as well and being out in the world. In the world, you'll always try and escape. You're not forced to look inside at everything. Here, there's no escape. No one has their own private rooms, so it's not as if you can go anywhere to be alone or run away from things. You're forced to face whatever it is that is coming up for you. So Mother's bringing a lot of things up, but that's just the purification process of what has got in and has to come out. So like that, everyone's vasana is coming up. They are forced to see it, to deal with it, and know that this is what they have to change about themselves to purify enough to really go beyond these things.
The feeling of I am mine is pretty predominant in modern society. People think they can achieve everything by self-effort, by human effort, but that is a wrong concept. Of course, we must put forth effort, but we must also pray for grace, because the deciding factor is grace. We will not get the result if grace is absent. Human effort is in our hands, but grace is not. Grace is beyond. We should learn the art to tap into that unknown source of grace. For grace, we must do good actions. We must help others with a compassionate and loving attitude. You have to understand that spirituality is life. It's not just words. It's not something to speak about and then forget.
So like that, we purify ourselves so that we can really be of some service to the world. Now, if you go out and you're not totally pure, then how can you really help anyone else? So first you have to become totally pure yourself, which is what Mother's trying to do here, to lead people in their spiritual life, make them as pure as possible, because, you have to give up your own selfishness to be able to put your time in to serve other people. But I find that's very good for people in the ashram, because people are coming to Mother, the internal changes are there with everyone. Everyone has a personal relationship with her. So people are changing and unfolding, their own divinity in each in their own personal way, because two people are the same. So it's like everyone has their own personal relationship with Mother and their own views on what they think spirituality is and how they should lead their spiritual life. So it's like all of these different people come together and somehow It just works itself out. Sometimes it's like that's the process of just, putting everyone together and then they all work on each other. Everyone is taken on. There's no one is rejected. She's the mother of everyone.
Right from the time I joined ashram, with Mother's grace, I've been able to do all work without any hesitation. Like even be cutting firewood or, cleaning the toilets. Mother herself would set an example, like even for cleaning the septic tank or anything. Mother would be there present, she would just be the first person who would start the work and, really. So with Mother's grace, that has, it has really helped me a lot in my spiritual work.
She showed by her example, through her life, that although everybody hates us, we should give others love. But we should try, from her life example, we should try to be like that. We should not hate anyone. Even if anyone did any mistakes or hurt her feelings or whatever it is, but she always forgave everything. Because love is beyond everything. Love and compassion is, we can conquer anything. Even in spite of all the adverse circumstances she had to go through. But still she had love and compassion. It is the lotus of love and compassion that blossomed from all the dirt she lived it. And that's how this river of love comes through.
We always remain in the intellect. We never come to the heart. And because the intellect is very calculating, we need spirituality to come to the heart. I'm not saying that we should completely remove the intellect, but we should have a discriminating intellect. We should be able to discriminate between truth and untruth. The most important act is awareness. That's what is lacking. The awareness is lacking.
So the very word guru, it means one who removes. Guru means one who removes. Therefore, when we go to a spiritual master, a living master like Amma, who's firmly established in the truth, will help the person gradually remove all his false identifications, his false values. In fact, she will demolish the entire existing personality. It's a false entity, actually.
What I've seen of Northern Ireland and other countries I've been in is that the same battle is going on between Catholics and Protestants, Jews and Arabs, East and West. It's the same thing is going on between families, within marriages, and within ourselves, within myself. It's the same battle. There's no difference, really. And so the real solution, the only person I can change is myself. And I think Amma teaches me and guides me to change myself and the battle within myself, the different aspects of myself and the conflicts of the anger, frustrations, the impatience, the sadness, the grief, the reactions within myself. She teaches me how to overcome those. I feel we have to look within ourselves, and I think Amma teaches how we can change.
Spiritual principles are very much necessary to feel love and to express it in our day-to-day lives. Faith is also very important because the spirituality of love and higher values is not a fact, it's abstract. You cannot see it. It's a feeling, a subjective feeling. So faith is very important. The entire life rests in faith. For each and every step in life, we need faith. It just creates a flow. It just flows and embraces the entire universe.
It's so nice to see other religions coming in the West. Many nuns come to see Mother. There's some of Mother Teresa's nuns that came in Paris this last time. And, you know, his mother doesn't want to change anyone's religion. She wants them to choose their form of God, and she'll give them more faith for whatever they choose. She wants to inspire them to have more devotion because she knows God is in everything. There's no one path. You know, she says religion was born out of man's ego, saying, you know, this is mine and that is yours, and they're all different. Once you've realized God, you know that there's no difference. So she's inspiring people in all walks of life to choose what they want to worship, and she'll give them the inspiration to find more devotion for that.
All the rivers, there may be varied rivers in a country, but all flow towards the sea. Similarly, all these forms of worship, all these forms of sadhanas, they culminate in that one truth, a truth which cannot be divided. Amma is incarnation who has the ability to embrace all these various ways of worship and, you know, lead one person to the final truth.
It's basically the way she leads them inward. It is truly very universal. There is nothing that I could say that characterizes it other than just the search for truth.
People in the world, they might have different excuses that they don't have time for spiritual practices or to call out to God. But then Amma, the amount of obstacles she faced and the suffering she went through, I mean, all the worldly problems that so many people have put together couldn't have compared to what she went through at such a young age. So it really shows us that how much we could overcome if we only put our heart to it. And if we really realize that love is what can overcome everything.
So Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And so the kingdom of heaven is not a place like this place. It's a state of consciousness where the mind is perfectly peaceful and enjoys its own self-happiness, you could say. A happiness that's not born from objects or relationships, but it's the very nature of the soul. That's the kingdom of heaven. Amma is part of the ancient Hindu tradition or Indian tradition, which is the same teaching, that the goal of human existence is to experience one's oneness with God. That's happiness, that's peace, that's contentment. And she's a continuance of that tradition. She's not teaching anything new.
What she showed me is that this unconditional love, it's the path to freedom. And unless we can give that, we can't be free. Actually, I came to Amma to study her. I didn't come as a devotee. I was an intellectual at the university at the time, and I was preparing for a PhD. What I began to understand about the Guru and the importance of the Guru was totally misunderstood in the West. And also I was at a college where the study of religion, I was studying anthropology. The study of religion was projected in a certain way, and the word love was completely absent. The study of comparative religion by many of the professors did not include anything to do with love.
Mother, just through her compassion, she's wanted to help man, not only on a spiritual level, but also on a very human, material level. And that's what has inspired her to do all this charitable work in the world.
So Amma has influenced all these people all over the world. And these people, they want to be able to do something with what they've received from Amma. And so they don't want to just sit in meditation, they want to share the peace that Amma is given. Amma also wants to have more people benefit from that.
Amma has orphanages where hundreds of children from the poorest sectors of society are given food, shelter, and education. There are many schools which Amma has started, from engineering colleges to computer schools. Amma emphasizes that the children should learn good human values in addition to getting a good education. There are many other charitable programs such as feeding the poor, medical and eye treatment camps, housing for the poor and disabled. The housing program's present goal is to build 25,000 concrete houses over the next few years. The Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences, or AIMS as it is called, is a charitable hospital with state-of-the-art medical facilities.
The hospital is a manifestation of Amma's tremendous compassion for the suffering poor. A lot of the people working for the hospital are our own ashram devotees at a small fraction of the cost of a commercial hospital, with far greater attention to quality because of the labor of love that this represents for all of us.
Even the poorest man can have an open heart surgery operation and other such high-tech, costly operations for free.
The Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences is just another of the many charitable services that are initiated in lines of Amma's thinking.
The list goes on and on. Even Amma's closest devotees are surprised when she announces each new major program.
Mother's humility, Mother's sacrifice and love, it influences normal people to take on those same qualities. You could say it's not even Mother directly, or she personally is not starting these projects, but it's the influence that her life and her being has on normal people that they themselves take up to organize and to run these other projects themselves.
Our boys and our girls, I mean the brahmacharis and the brahmacharinis, are going out into the world, into the society, working for others, helping them, trying to make them understand the spiritual significance. I mean the need for a spiritual life in the modern society. At the same time, helping them to live a better life while they are in this world. They don't have to run away. They don't have to escape. Be in the society, but at the same time, you can focus on spiritual principles, on the essential principles of life. So we are in the society, but at the same time, we try to follow the old Gurukula system. That is the Guru's family. There is very close connection. Nobody is a stranger. No one is a stranger. It's like a family.
When a flower is in the bud stage, we cannot see the colorful petals, nor can we smell the fragrance. But when it opens up, we can see the petals and experience the sweet fragrance of the flower. Likewise, we have this capacity within us. We have infinite capacity, but at present, we are in a closed state. Just like a flower, we have to open up, and that opening is possible through spiritual understanding.
I think she'll be remembered as one of the most loving, compassionate, self-giving, self-sacrifice saints ever to come on earth, and one who has never ever taken a breath of air for herself.
Om Balayai Namaha, Om Leela Vinodinyai Namaha, Om Sumangalyai Namaha, Om Sukhakariyai Namaha.
God's infinite beauty and power is in everything. Singing of nightingale, crowing of crow, roaring of lion, waves of ocean. It's that God's power that helps us see, breathe, walk, function through hands, heartbeat. And then we should become God. We have that capacity.
Om Purvajayai Namah. Om Tripurambikayai Namah. Om Dashamudra Samaradhyayai Namah. Om Tripura
Being in the mud, even though it wasn't like the greatest place, but it really felt like you were part of the mud and the plants and the everything, all of nature. You were just part of the whole thing.
Did you like it?
It was really fun to go through that experience.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare.
I was not in the conscious mind.
No?
No.
Where were you?
I don't know. Amma was playing with me.
Because you looked exhausted.
Yes.
But you kept going.
Yes. But Amma was playing in me. I'm not playing. I was thinking like that.
So it was Amma doing it.
Yes.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare.
Actually, I was really shy in the beginning to do it. But then as time progressed, I realized it's actually a great honor to do it. And to have to portray Amma, I had to reread the biography. Then every time I would see Amma, I would think, if I have to do this, how do I do it? So I had to watch her movements so carefully. I had to look at her old photographs that I had. So it was like a meditation for me. I had to concentrate on Amma for so long to be able to do this.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
When I think of Amma, I want to cry for Amma. I like some certain bhajans I like, of those lines I like. So I started singing those lines in my heart and I started crying. I felt like crying.
Bhakti, those were real tears.
Some real and not real mixed together. The tears that come from the left were for Amma and this came from the glycerine.
Rama Rama Hare Hare Hare.
Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hare.
I met mother in the noon time and I got her permission. And I told her that I am meeting you today. You should permit me with a due apology. You have to permit me to meet you. She said, okay. And she gave me a chocolate also.
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Tell me about what your character is this morning.
They are waiting you.
Yeah.
Then
So this is a bad dream, in other words.
Yeah. This is a bad dream.
This is a bad dream. Okay. Well, the scene is not difficult.
Yeah.
You,
Yesterday I was in bhajan. So
all night.
At midnight. After that, I going to sleep, but my sleep was very disturbed.
I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
No. This is my destiny. Yeah.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
ഈ ചകിരിയിൽ ഉണക്കത്തുള്ള ചകിരി എടുക്കു വെച്ചുങ്ങളെ കൊണ്ടുവന്നേ ഞാൻ അതിലേക്ക് അത് ഫസ്റ്റ് ട്രൈ ചെയ്യാം ഇങ്ങോട്ട് കളക്റ്റാൻ വേണ്ടി കുറച്ച് നേരം കൈവണ്ടി എടുക്കാൻ കൈവണ്ടിയല്ല എന്താ ചേർന്നാക്ക് മാത്രം കൊണ്ടുപോവുക അവിടെ കല്ലില്ലേ ഇതൊക്കെ നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടില്ലേ? കാരണം ഇതിന്റെ പുറത്ത് മണ്ണിട്ട് മണ്ണോട് നമ്മൾ ചീത്തയാകും. മഴ പെയ്താൽ പെയ്യട്ടെ, പക്ഷേ വെള്ളം കെട്ടി കിടന്ന് മാറ്റി
कैसे देखूं मैं तुझको
കുറച്ചും കൂടി എന്താ എന്താണ് ഓണോ ഇത് എത്തണാവും
ചിലപ്പോഴേ വിളി വരുള്ളൂ
പറഞ്ഞെല്ലാം വിധിയല്ലേ പിന്നെ പിന്നെ വേറൊരാളുടെ ആശ്രയം ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന ചോദിക്കുക അപ്പോൾ ഒരാൾ കുഴി വീടുന്ന വിധി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരാൾ വീണടക്കും വേറൊരാളുണ്ടതിൻ്റെ വിധിയാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് പോത്തല്ലേ ഉള്ളു ആവുമ്പോൾ ഏറി നിൽക്കുന്ന വിധിയെന്ന് കാണണ്ടേ ആ മനോഭാവമല്ലേ വളർത്തിക്കൊണ്ടുവരണ്ടേ.
No, there was one question about should human beings be the controller of their own destiny? And what was it that their own destiny and action or something? Saying that it is your destiny to suffer like that, my business to help you.
ആശ്രയിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നതാണ്. അത് മാത്രമല്ല പിന്നെ പലരും പഠിച്ചിട്ട് പിന്നെ ഡിഗ്രിയും നീളവും മണ്ണും എല്ലാം ഉണ്ടായാലും ഇൻ്റർവ്യൂ സമയത്ത് എല്ലാ ഉത്തരം പറഞ്ഞാലും അവർക്ക് ചിലർക്ക് കിട്ടിക്കാണില്ല. ചിലപ്പോൾ 10 ഉത്തരവും പറഞ്ഞില്ല, ചിലപ്പോൾ 8 ഉത്തരം പറഞ്ഞോളൂ, പക്ഷെ അവർക്ക് കിട്ടി. ഇതുപോലെ അന്ന് അത്ര പേഴ്സണാലിറ്റി ഒന്നും കാണത്തോ ഇല്ല. അപ്പം എന്താണ് എല്ലാം ഉണ്ടായിട്ടും കിട്ടിയില്ലല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ ആ കൃപ ഇല്ല. പ്രയത്നത്തിനുപരി കൃപ വേണം. കൃപയ്ക്ക് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും നമ്മുടെ നല്ല കർമ്മം ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കണം. പറയും ഞാൻ എല്ലാം പ്രയത്നമാണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാലും കൃപ.
Says, in the modern society, the predominant tendency is to say that I am my own boss. The feeling of I and mine is very much predominant in the modern society. People think that they can achieve everything by self-effort, by human effort. But it's a wrong concept. Of course, we must put forth enough effort to accomplish something. But along with our efforts, we should also pray for the grace, because ultimately the deciding factor is the grace. We may put forth the necessary effort, but we may not get the result if the aspect of grace is absent. For example, suppose we appear for an interview, and somebody appears for an interview, and they may call us for an interview, and we have all the educational qualifications, we have the correct weight, height, very good personality, and we may even answer all the questions asked by the interviewer, but we may still not get the job. But somebody else who doesn't have all these qualities, all these qualifications, and who may not answer all the questions quite satisfactorily, may get the job. So it's the presence of grace. It's just because of the feeling that the interviewer just feels that I should not give the job to this first person, I should give to the second man. It just felt in that way. And from where does that feeling come from? That feeling comes from somewhere beyond. And that beyondness is grace. Human effort is under our control, it is in our hands. But grace is not. Grace is beyond. So we should learn the art to tap into that unknown source of grace.
The example she gave.
So effort is necessary, but grace also is necessary. So for grace, we must, do good actions.
The man who fell
helping,
in the hole.
Helping others.
Bring him out of the hole.
Helping others with a compassionate and loving attitude.
So much of Indian spirituality hinges on this notion of karma, that it is that man's destiny to be in that hole, to suffer. And so much criticism from the West has been delivered at that precise premise of not helping because it's destiny. What I'm hearing from Amma is extraordinarily refreshing and magnificent, because indeed you can combine the two, then
പറയുന്ന ഈ വിദേശ രാജ്യങ്ങളിൽ ഇവിടെ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ഈ കർമ്മ സിദ്ധാന്തം ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരാൾ ദുഃഖം അനുഭവിക്കുന്നതിൽ അവൻ്റെ വിധിയാണത്, അവൻ്റെ കർമ്മമാണത് എന്നാണ് ഇന്ത്യൻ സിദ്ധാന്തം, നമ്മുടെ ഭാരതീയ തത്വശാസ്ത്രം. പക്ഷേ ഈ സിദ്ധാന്തത്തിനെ വിമർശിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് വിദേശികൾ ഇങ്ങനെ മറ്റുള്ളവരെ കാരുണ്യത്തോടെ കാണാത്തതും അവനെ സ്നേഹപൂർവ്വം സഹായിക്കാത്തതിന് വിദേശീയർ വിമർശിക്കാറുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ ഇപ്പോൾ അമ്മ പറഞ്ഞത് വളരെ ഹൃദയത്തിന് വളരെ കുളിർമ പകരുന്നു എന്ന് പറയാം. രണ്ടും കൂടെ ഒന്നിച്ച് ഒരു സമ്മേളനം വളരെ ആശ്വാസകരമാണെന്ന് പറയാം. അവൻ്റെ വിധിയാണതെങ്കിൽ അമ്മ പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ, അവനെ സഹായിക്കേണ്ടത് നമ്മുടെ വിധിയാണ്, ആ കുഴിയിൽ കടന്നതിനെ പിടിച്ചു. അത് കേട്ടത് വളരെ ഹൃദയത്തിന് കുളിർമ പകരുന്നു എന്ന് പറയാം. അങ്ങനെ വ്യാഖ്യാനിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവും ഈ വേദാന്തികളൊക്കെ. അവർ പറയുമല്ലോ എല്ലാം അവൻ അനുഭവിക്കുന്നത് അവൻ്റെ പ്രാരബ്ധമാണെന്ന് പറയുമല്ലോ.
പക്ഷേ ഈ സന്യാസികളെല്ലാം ആത്മാവെന്ന് പറയുകയും ചെയ്യും. പക്ഷെ വിശക്കുമ്പോൾ ഭക്ഷണം കഴിക്കണം, രോഗം ആശുപത്രിയിൽ പോകത്തില്ലേ,
കർമ്മമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നില്ല. Even those, the exponents of destiny or karma, those who say that it's destiny. If that happens, it is their destiny. If somebody suffers, it is their destiny. Even such people, they would eat at the right time. They wouldn't think that, oh, if I don't get food, it is my karma. No, they wouldn't do that. They would somehow find some food. Or if they have some disease, they will immediately go and see the doctor. They wouldn't simply sit saying that, it's my karma.
വേദാന്തികൾ തർക്കാറുണ്ട് ആത്മാവ് ഏതാത്മാവിനെ സേവിക്കാനാണ്.
Sometimes the Vedantins, those who follow the path of non-duality, come to mother and tell her
നമ്മൾ ആശ്രമ സേവനം ഉള്ളതുകൊണ്ട് അവർക്ക് തിരുത്താൻ.
They sometimes, we have so many charitable activities, so they come and ask mother, if everything is Atman, who is there to serve whom? Everything is Atman.
പക്ഷേ പറയുന്നവർ ആഹാരം കഴിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, ഉറങ്ങുന്നുണ്ട്, രോഗം നശിപ്പിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്.
These people, they take care of their body. They go to see a doctor, take medicines, or eat when they are hungry.
So interdependency, the word she
used. മനസ്സിലാക്കിയത് അദ്വൈതം ജീവിതമാണ്, അല്ല വാക്കാ പറയുന്നതല്ല.
No, the point is, non-duality is a way of living. It is not just something to speak and forget about.
തന്നെ പോലെ മറ്റൊരാളെ കാണുന്ന അവസ്ഥയാണ്.
It is something which we should see somebody else as our own self, to love somebody else as we love our own self. That is true Vedanta, or the path of non-duality.
പക്ഷെ ഗീതയിൽ അങ്ങനെ പറയുന്നില്ല കർമ്മം ചെയ്യണം.
അത് ശരിക്കൊരു നിർവ്യാഖ്യാനം പറയാൻ നമുക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ അന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. Amma says it's actually a misinterpretation of the whole philosophy. People who want to interpret it according to their convenience.
മനസ്സിലാക്കിയ തെറ്റായിരിക്കുക.
So it's their wrong understanding about the Indian scriptures, and they interpret it in that way, but that's not the correct interpretation.
ഓരോ ഭരണക്കാരും വരുമ്പോൾ ഓരോ നിയമം എഴുതി വെച്ച്.
Because in olden times India was ruled by small kings. Each state or each place was ruled by a king. So each one of them had a different system, a different code of conduct, different policies, So they tried to make the people believe that that is the truth. That has created a lot of problems, misconceptions.
So Amma is really telling us that love and grace, the interdependency of all life forms, jivanam, requires our active participation.
അമ്മ ചുരുക്കത്തിൽ പറഞ്ഞത് ഈ എല്ലാത്തിനും ഈ പ്രപഞ്ചം മുഴുവൻ പരസ്പരം ആശ്രയിച്ച് കഴിയുന്നതാണ്. പ്രേമവും കാരുണ്യവും കൃപയും വേണം ലോകത്തിൽ.
അല്ലാതെ മനസ്സിലാക്കണം താൻ മറ്റവരെ പീഡിപ്പിച്ച് സൂക്ഷിക്കുന്നതിലല്ല, അത് വെറുതെയല്ല. എല്ലാത്തിനും ഫ്രീഡം ഈശ്വരൻ തന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. നിനക്ക് സൂഹിക്കാം, ദുഷ്ടനാകാം, ശേഷനാകാം. പക്ഷെ മറ്റുള്ള വേദനിപ്പിച്ച് സൂഹിക്കുക അല്ല വേണ്ടത്. ആ ധർമ്മം മനസ്സിലാക്കി നമ്മൾ നീങ്ങുക.
So our happiness should not be in somebody else's cost. So you are free. You can enjoy life. You can have fun. You are free to do anything you like, but it should not be in others' cost. That's the most important thing.
Could you repeat that just?
Others' expense. Sorry. Should not mean the others' expense.
അങ്ങനെ മോൻ പറഞ്ഞ് കടലിൽ മീൻ പിടിക്കുന്ന ഇല്ലാക്കാൻ വിഷമമാണ്, പച്ചക്കറിയും അതൊരു കൊലയാണ്. പക്ഷെ ഒരു കാര്യം ചെയ്യണം, അത് പൂർണ്ണം ഇല്ലാക്കാൻ വിഷമം ഉണ്ടാകും. പക്ഷെ ഒരു കാര്യം ചെയ്യേണ്ട, അതിൻ്റെ സൃഷ്ടി സമയമുണ്ട്. അപ്പം അത് ആ സമയം ഇതിനെ പിടിക്കാതിരിക്കുകയും അതിൻ്റെ മൂല്യത്തെ നശിപ്പിക്കാതിരിക്കുക. പച്ചക്കറിയും നമ്മളതിന് കൊലയാണ്, പക്ഷെ ഇതുപോലല്ല. ഒരു കോഴിയെ കൊല്ലുന്ന പോലെ, ഒരു മുട്ടയെ കൊല്ലുന്ന പോലെ വരുന്നുള്ളു പച്ചക്കറി എന്ന് പറയും. എന്നാലും അതും കൊലയാണ്, പക്ഷെ അത് വിത്ത് സൂക്ഷിച്ച് അതിൻ്റെ പരമ്പരയെ നിലനിർത്തുന്നു. സമുദ്രത്തിൽ വിത്ത് സൂക്ഷിക്കാൻ പിടിച്ച് മൊത്തം എടുക്കുക. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഈ സൃഷ്ടി സമയം മനസ്സിലാക്കി ഓരോ ജീവിയുടെയും സൃഷ്ടിയുണ്ടല്ലോ, ഈ ഗർഭിണിയായിട്ട് പ്രസവിക്കുന്നു, ആ സമയം നോക്കി അതിനെ പിടിക്കരുതെന്നൊരു നിയമം വെച്ചാൽ മതി. അപ്പം മൂല്യം നശിക്കില്ലല്ലോ.
As Amma said before, the entire life is interdependent. See, the human beings and nature, the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom, it's all interdependent, you know. So you had a question about, the environmental problems, how, animals become, the victim of butcher's knife, and how the fish is caught by the, fishermen. Amma says, life cannot exist without this interdependency. That's part and parcel of life. But what we should do is, we can of course take from nature, but at the same time we should support nature also. For example, we can catch fish, but at the same time there is a time when they breeding period. So don't catch fish at that time. See, if you think in that way, then even eating vegetables is non-violence. But we cannot, we must eat something. So eat, but at the same time, help them by supporting them, supporting life, supporting their species to grow. So you can eat eggs, no problem, but at the same time, don't destroy life. We have no right to destroy life because we cannot create life.
അതുകൊണ്ട് അതിൻ്റെ ഓരോ മത്സ്യത്തിൻ്റെ സൃഷ്ടി സമയം നോക്കി ആ സമയം അതിനെ പിടിക്കരുതെന്നാക്കണം. അപ്പം അതിൻ്റെ മൂല്യം നശിക്കില്ല.
Someone says there is a breeding time. Even the fish have a breeding time. So don't catch fish at that time. There should be strict rules about it. So we should help them to grow. We should help the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, and everything in nature to grow. Take from the nature, but don't exploit nature. Don't destroy nature. Support nature, and then nature will provide us in abundance.
പിന്നെ പശുവിനെ കൊല്ലുന്നതിൽ അവർക്കൊരു ബോധവൽക്കരണം കൊടുക്കുന്നത് നല്ല വിഷമമാണ്.
And even killing animals, for meat, it's due to lack of awareness. We should let people know. We should, convey this message, get this message across. Let them know what they are doing and how they are destroying life, and what are the, harm, the harmful side of it.
That's certainly one of the reasons we're making this film, to convey the depth and the scope of the love that
ഈ ചിത്രം എടുക്കുന്നതിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രധാന ഉദ്ദേശം അതാണ്. ഇങ്ങനെ അമ്മ പറയുന്ന ഈ സാർവലൗകികമായിട്ടുള്ള സ്നേഹം എല്ലാത്തിലും അത് കാണണം എന്നുള്ളത്.
ഈശ്വരന്റെ സൃഷ്ടിയാണല്ലോ ലോകം, അതിന്റെ സൗന്ദര്യം നശിപ്പിക്കാതിരിക്കണം. അതാണ് നമ്മുടെ സ്വത്ത്. അതിനെ നമ്മുടെ ശവപ്പെട്ടി.
The world is the creation of God. It's all beautiful. There's nothing ugly here. Everything has a place. So the beauty of God is there completely in His creation. Someone says, if we are not supporting nature, if we try to destroy nature, we are making our own coffin.
പണ്ടൊക്കെ കൊടുക്കലും വാങ്ങലും മാത്രമുള്ള കൊടുക്കലും ഉണ്ട്. ഇപ്പൊ വാങ്ങലുള്ള കൊടുക്കലില്ല. പണ്ട് ഇത്ര ഓരോ വർഷം ഇത്ര തൈകൾ വെച്ച് നട്ടുക, ഇന്ന ദിവസങ്ങളിൽ അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ എല്ലാം ഉണ്ട്. വെട്ടുക എന്നുള്ള നടുക എന്നുള്ളതില്ല.
Amma says in olden times it was give and take. There was a cooperative endeavor.
അന്ധവിശ്വാസമാണെങ്കിലും അവരതിനെ ഉത്തരിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നു.
There was a cooperative endeavor. Human, the nature provided whatever human beings needed, and human beings wholeheartedly supported nature. So people say that the in ancient times people were blind. Means they had so much of blind belief in the society. But Amma's superstitions in the society. But Amma says it's not so. They worshipped everything in nature, seeing them as an expression of God. And in that way, they were supporting nature. They even worshipped a snake. Even a poisonous.
അതിനെ വർഷത്തിൽ ഈ മഞ്ഞൾ കലക്കി കഴിക്കാൻ കൊടുക്കും, പാട്ടുപാടി അതിനെ നാദത്തെ കൂടി നൃത്തം ചെയ്യിക്കും. പക്ഷെ പിന്നെ അതൊരു പരിണാമത്തിൽ അതൊരു ആരാധനയായി മാറി. അത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ.
It says even a poisonous creature was considered as God's creation. People tried to see God's beauty in that. Every year they would make a liquid out of turmeric powder, which they would offer for the snakes, and milk as well. Milk and turmeric liquid. And then they will sing. They will sing several chants to please nature, to please all the creation. And they say that the snakes would come out of their holes and would take a bath in that. They would drink the milk and go back to their holes. And people would sing chants, and the snakes would dance according to the tune sung by the people. And there were, in each house there was a wooded area in each house, and they had such worships in that place. So it was a cooperative endeavor, there was hand in hand. Human beings and nature moved hand in hand. And every evening during dusk time, all the family members would gather in a place. In each house there was a family shrine room. So all the members would gather there and sing songs, divine songs.
പ്രകൃതിയെ വളരെ സ്നേഹിച്ചിരുന്നു അവര്. കാവിലെ പാടി വിളക്കത്തിച്ചു ആ കാവിനെ ഈശ്വരനായി കാണുന്നത് എല്ലാം പ്രകൃതിയെ ഈശ്വരസങ്കല്പമായിട്ടാണ് എല്ലാം
കാണുന്നത്. People saw everything as an expression of God. They saw everything as God. They worshipped the mountains because that too was a creation of God. They tried to see God's beauty there. River, ocean. So that was not a blind belief. Actually, they have really supported. So in olden times it was give and take. But now it's only taking. There is no giving. So in olden times, the people, even at that time, people needed house, shelter. They had all the needs. They would cut trees. But at the same time, when they cut one tree, they would plant 10.
ഒരു ആനക്കൊമ്പിന് വേണ്ടി ഒരു ആനയെ കൊല്ലുക എത്ര ഒരു കൊമ്പിന് വേണ്ടി ഒരു അത്ര മൃഗമനസ്സായി.
But now people just cut trees, they won't plant anything. And now people sometimes they kill elephants just for a tusk.
എല്ലാം പോയി, ധർമ്മവും പോയി.
Everything is degenerating, especially dharma. Dharma is that which supports the entire universe, is dharma.
അതുകൊണ്ട് ഓരോരുത്തരും വ്യക്തി കൂടി നന്നാവുള്ള വ്യക്തി നന്നാകുക, ബോധവൽക്കരണം ചെയ്യുക.
Only when individuals become good, the society will become good.
പണ്ടും സ്ത്രീകൾക്ക് ഫ്രീഡം ഉണ്ടായില്ല. ഇപ്പോഴും സ്ത്രീകളെയും കുറച്ച് എല്ലാം ഒരു നിയമത്തിൽ മാത്രം ഒതുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. കുറച്ച്
Amma says there should be നിയമങ്ങൾ വേണമെന്നല്ലേ?
അല്ല, അതുകൊണ്ട് ബോധവൽക്കരണം വരണം. ഒരു ട്രസ്റ്റ് രൂപീകരിച്ച് ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ളവരെ ഉത്തരിച്ചാൽ നന്നായിരിക്കും നിങ്ങളെപ്പോലുള്ളവരെന്ന്.
Amma says people like you should try to form trusts to protect the nature, and something should be done to create an awareness in the society. Yeah? So there should be some rules, and we should try our best to get the cooperation of the people. But that cooperation can be gotten only through proper education.
ഈശ്വരനെ സൂര്യന് മെഴുതിയുടെ ആവശ്യമില്ലെന്ന്. ഈശ്വരൻ നമ്മുടെ ഒന്നും വേണ്ട. സപ്രം ആകാശപ്പുറത്തൊരാളേക്ക് സപ്രപഞ്ചത്തെ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഈശ്വരൻ ആകാശപ്പുറം ഇരിക്കുന്ന ഈശ്വരനല്ല. സകല ചരാചരത്തിലും കുടികൊള്ളുന്നതാണ്. ബുദ്ധി അത് അനുഭവമാണ്. സകല ഓരോ വ്യക്തിയിലാണ് നിൽക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പം അവരോട് സ്നേഹം കാരണമാണ് ഈശ്വരൻ.
God doesn't need anything from us. He is a giver. He gives everything. He is like the sun. And it says God doesn't. The sun doesn't need a candle.
ഈശ്വരൻ നമ്മുടെ ഒന്നും വേണ്ട. പിന്നെ അത് അനുഭവമാണ്.
And God is a subjective experience, but it is beyond the intellect.
കറണ്ട് കാണാൻ പറ്റില്ല, തൊട്ടാൽ അറിയാമോ?
It's pure experience. God is pure experience. It's just like, electricity. You cannot see electricity, but you can feel it. You can experience it. Put your finger into a bulb holder, and you will feel it. Understand?
Yes.
Likewise, God is pure experience. He doesn't need anything from us. He's the giver of everything. When a flower is in the bud stage, we cannot.
പാടുന്ന കുയിലും കരയുന്ന കാക്കയിലും കണ്ണിൽ കൂടെ കാണുന്ന ഹൃദയത്തോടെ പറഞ്ഞ ഈശ്വരൻ നമ്മുടെ കൈയിൽ കൊണ്ടുവരും ചുണ്ടിക്കൊണ്ടുവരണം അവിടെ പറഞ്ഞു നിർത്താൻ എനിക്ക് പോകണം.
Amma says, when a flower is in the bud stage, we cannot see the colorful petals, nor can we experience the sweet fragrance of the flower. But when it opens up, we can see the petals, beautiful petals. We can also experience the sweet fragrance. Likewise, we have the capacity within us. We have infinite capacity, infinite power. But at present, we are in a closed stage, just like the bud. We have to open up. And that opening up is possible only through spiritual practices, spiritual understanding. Amma says God and God's power, God's infinite beauty is in everything, in the entire creation. It is there in the nightingale, the singing of the nightingale, the crowing of a crow, or in the roaring of the lion, or in the ocean, in the waves of the ocean. So it's everywhere. But that God should come, it is that God's power which helps us to see with our eyes, which helps us to breathe, that which helps us to walk, that which functions through the hands, that helps the heart beat. So we should bring God into our hands. We should bring God into our legs, into our eyes, into our breathing. And thus we should become God. That capacity is there within. Infinite capacity is there. So the entire world is God's creation, and we should fall in love with that beauty. Therefore, the whole world, the entire universe is a wonder for Mother, because it's God's beauty. It's God's creation. Just like a child, just like a child beholds everything with wonder. For Mother, everything is a wonder, because everything is God, everything is God's beauty.
അక్కడ ക്വസ്റ്റിന് ഉത്തരം തന്നു വേണേ പിന്നെ അയക്കാം. പറഞ്ഞുതരാം, നമുക്ക് കുറച്ച് എഴുതി കൊടുക്കാം.
Amma says there wasn't enough time. Otherwise, Mother would have spent much more time with you. Spend much more time.
What she's just given us is remarkable and unforgettable.
അമ്മ ഇപ്പം കൊടുത്തത് മറക്കാനാകാത്തതും അത്ഭുതകരവുമാണ്. Question and answer I can.
നോക്കിയിട്ട് വായിക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്ന വായിക്കാം.
Where is the...
Everyone in the way should sleep without fear. All is for one night, sleep without fear. Everyone in the way should sleep without fear. All is for one night, sleep without fear. Everyone in the way should eat to their feet. All is for one day, eat to their feet. Everyone in the way should eat to their feet. All is for one day, eat to their feet. They should be one day when there is no violence, no one is in jail, no one is harmed. There should be one day when there is no violence, no one is in jail, no one is harmed. All people എങ്ങനോ സർവപൂർണ്ണ needy. All is for one day, selflessly. All people എങ്ങനോ സർവപൂർണ്ണ needy. All is for one day, selflessly. This is my dream, this is my prayer. Love is the answer, love is the way. This is my dream, this is my prayer. Love is the answer, love